So what I want to do is take you a little walk back. There's a couple of shots of, you might guess it, that's me. The first one is I found an interesting life as a young fellow. My dad was with the United Nations, and so we lived in a lot of places around the world. And you know, I took my kindergarten and first grade in Kabul, Afghanistan. Then he was stationed back in New York for a while. And then from there we went and spent 2.5 years split between Rawalpindi, Pakistan and Srinagar, Kashmir, experiencing the lifestyles, you know, of Pakistan and India. And I got to go to local schools as a kid. You couldn't do that today. You know, with things like Taliban and all this kind of stuff that's going on over there, that would never happen today. And so the reason I bring that up is because as a young kid, I got to understand that today I see a crowd here in Vancouver different than a lot of other people would that are from here, because there aren't the ethnical breakdowns for me that there may be for other people, you know, be it wherever. Because, you know, I'd been schooling with these kids. These were some of my buddies. I spoke their language. You know, so I don't see these as being the other people that come here. It's all part of the oneness that I see. And that to me is an advantage, especially to when I come into this realm and understanding this industry. And I do call it an industry, and I'll explain why in a bit. The other one was from high school. That was here in Burnaby. I grew up here in Burnaby. And you know, at that age, you know, I got to speak on some platforms. I learned how to get in front of crowds and being comfortable in front of crowds at an early age. And you know, I had, you know, things like, rock bands and standing on stages and having a lot of fun at those kind of things. It was great for meeting people and being able to get out and do some serious partying back then in the early 60s. So that's, you know, I don't remember much of it, but hey, that's a story in itself. Okay, but that's some of my background. So is there a place that you'd rather be? You know, it's interesting in a lot of the sessions with this networking group, there's people usually from all over the world. And so, you know, the answer to that is obvious, because there's any place you could rather be. And so, and by the way, I do want to say there's, you know, the warmest night of the year so far, there's a lot of places you could have been other than be here tonight, and I appreciate you being here to listen to this. So I just wanted to bring that out. But yeah, we're blessed to be in probably one of the prettiest, the nicest, one of the places around the world. And what a great place to be able to do business. Shamedly, the thief thinks the same way. Because, and I alluded to this earlier, is one of the things that I learned from interviewing some of the people that I did who are former victims and former convicted identity thieves, was when I understood that it's a business. Same like all of your businesses. You were up here talking about this. They have their concerns of how to get over the challenges that they have to go through as well. You know, if you change a law, they'll just find another way around it. You know, if there's a new technology, they'll just find another way around it. It's their business. They will make that deal. And it's interesting how some people will say, well, it's just too bad that this young fellow can't go out and get a real job. Well, I can tell you on the first book that I wrote, actually the second book I wrote, sorry, Confessions of an Identity Thief, I co-wrote this with a young gentleman who was at that time a former convicted identity thief. And he taught me amazing things. And not so much how to do the crime, that's not what I was interested in, but in his mindset is when he did it. And he couldn't understand why people would go get a job. It's the exact same thing you say about the thief, he would say about regular folks. Couldn't understand why somebody would want to sit in traffic. He'd be in a rented hotel room looking down, of course done with somebody else's credit card, and he'd be looking down at people commuting, and he'd go, why do people want to do that? You know, as he made between $5,000 to $10,000 a day. While you say, oh, the poor guy, why doesn't he get a regular job? See, it's a mindset. You know, you've got this fellow talking about mindset. That's exactly what it is. And so it's about how these things all come together.